Hello and welcome to our Dark Rugby CDM induction. The in should take around about 35 minutes, something like that. So get yourself comfortable. Make sure that you keep your mask on. And if there are any questions, you can ask those at the end. Entry to site. All visitors need to show their COVID lateral flare slide and the gatehouse record the slide number. You need to present it in this kind of format, and they'll take the last 5 digits from that slide to prove you've taken test, and they'll also check your NHS text on your phone daily. They'll take the slide off you, dispose of that. All visitors will have their temperature taken before entry to site at the gatehouse, and day visitors sign in at the gatehouse and need to follow the same process. In addition to the above, contractors will need to sign in at the seed area and sign out when leaving on a daily basis. Entry to site. You must walk through the temperature test cabin in the car park each time you enter site. And the best way to do this is, even if you go to your car, make sure that when you turn, you walk through the temperature check cabin. You'll then need to sign in and out a CDM cabin every day, and there's an arrow there on the picture showing you where the CDM signing in cabin is. COVID-19 control measures. So all COVID-19 control measures must be adhered to whilst on site. Face coverings must be when within 2 meters of another person. You must go through the thermal screen cabin before you enter site. Always maintain 2 meter social distancing and wash hands regularly. If you can't maintain 2 meter social distancing, then you must wear a mask. There are 3 persons per table in the porta cabin canteens. Use sanitizer frequently, and do not hang around in corridors where there are small spaces. Avoid sharing tools and equipment. If it's unavoidable, make sure you clean them down before they are being used, and avoid sharings. COVID-19 face coverings. So there are lots of ways of wearing a covering, but there's only one correct way. So you need to make sure that your face covering is undamaged, is damp. If it's damaged or damp, then change it. Don't go around your chin. It needs to cover your nose and your mouth. Try not to touch the front of your mask if you can help it. And try not to wear fitting masks. If there are gaps around your face, that means that it's not protecting you 100%. And do not take off a mask when you're within 2 meters of another person or within a crowded area. When finished with your mask, it needs to be disposed correctly. Don't leave it as a problem for somebody else. And the best way to do this is to fold your mask in half, then fold it in half again and put it in the. This will save it or stop it from blowing around and becoming some sort of problem. COVID-19 glasses fogging. Now this is a problem, and especially a problem because we're all having to wear safe glasses on site. And none of these methods are 100%, but these are some methods suggested by the BBC. So there's a tuck method where you ensure that your face covering is tightly moulded to your nose and face, and then you put your glasses on top of these. And once your glasses get to the right temperature, you'll find that they're less likely to fog up. Another method is the tissue method, where you hold, as in the picture in the centre there, a tissue and tape it to the top of your mask. And prevents the glasses from fogging also. And the final method, and I'm sure there's other methods as well, is the soap method, where you wash your glasses in just normal soap, and then rinse dry with a soft cloth, and it leaves a thin film that prevents your glasses from steaming up. Again, none of these are 100%, so if you need to work, clear your glasses and then put them back on and resume work, then that's what you need to do. It's acceptable to, if you're within 2 meters of somebody else, to pull your face covering down under your nose so it doesn't steam up your glasses. The face masks need to be worn correctly. The induct check sheet. Now, you may have done this before the video, you may do it after the video, but this is an explanation of what's happening in that checklist. So as part of the induction process, you'll need to fill in an induction checklist. And you'll be asked who you are, your next of kin and emergency contact. That's in case we need to contact somebody that you want us to contact in an emergency. Who you work for, so it's your company, not your subcontracted company, the work that pays you money, what work you'll be carrying out, where you'll be working on site, and roughly how long you'll be here. This will allow our group to initially assess the risks and act accordingly. You'll then be asked to read, understand, and to abide by your company's risk assessment method statement. You'll be asked to declare if you are using certain types of machine or equipment, and then prove your competency through a certificate or a license. Then you need to sign the induction form. Have you fully understood the induction? Have you understood the COVID-19 control measures? If the answer to any of the above is no, then action is required to resolve this before work can start. All persons must understand induction and agree to abide by the control measures before entering site. Induct check sheet. Do not start work unless you have read, understood, and agree to abide by the company risk assessment and method statement, and then signed. Do not use plant, equipment, machinery, or tools unless you're competent and applied the current competency certificate for things like forklift, truck tubes, plasma, etc. Personal protective equipment, PPE. It's your employer's responsibility to supply you with PPE, and it's your responsibility to wear it correctly. Mandatory on site are face coverings, which must be worn when within 2 meters of others. Hearing protection, this is standard hearing protection and not musical devices. For the CDM areas and for all contractors, it's going to be hard hat only, not butt caps. Safe footwear, steel toe cap, steel sole and anti-slip. Safety glasses or over glasses, you wear prescription spectacles. High vest, waistcoat or jacket. You need to put blue tape around any wedding bands, so no jewellery or watch can be worn, but if you have a wedding band that you don't take off, then there's blue tape available at the entrance to the sites. You need to wear gloves, and these need to be appropriate for the task or activity that you're taking part in, and it will be highlighted in your real risk assessment method statement. And whatever other PPE is required for your activity to keep you safe. Contamination prevention. So this site is classed as a food factory. So we need to do all we can to make sure that the hygiene levels are at high at all times. So beverage cans are being produced. We need to make sure that we protect the integrity of the product at all times. Don't wear anything which may cause contamination in the production area. That means no jewellery, chains, rings, piercings, etc. No watches and music headphones. No food or drink to be taken into the production area or the service areas, and that includes water. We can't take anything at all into the production area. So if you need to hydrate, which is recommended that you keep yourself well hydrated, there are water fountains placed around the production area, and you're able to use those at any time. Don't take any food or drink into the site. Keep insect screens on the exterior doors closed. Check these go through. If you're using one of these doors, make sure that when you go through the insect screen, it closes automatically behind you. If it doesn't, just repeat in the hole. Make sure that no insects can enter into the production area. Wash your hands after using the toilet and before entering the production area. Always replace conveyor and do not leave any items on the conveyor. Airborne dust will contaminate cans, so this must be adequately controlled at all times. When working off the production area, be aware of the risk of contamination. If lines are running near your work area, they should be covered and screened off. Things like layout cards, pallets, and any other type of production equipment should not be used for any other purpose. Conduct on site, BBS, behavioural based safety. And the company use a BBS card, as you can see there on the left hand side. And the BBS is there to encourage safe work for all. Individuals carry out observation on each other, including contractors, and the results are recorded for monitoring purpose. Anybody can be observed, and persons being observed and unnamed. Cards are available if you want to use them next to the entrance in the production area on the side of the team leader's office. Your completed card can be given to your supervisor or dropped in the box near the CM and production office. Mobile phones. The use of mobile phones is not permitted whilst you're working within the production area, except for authorised personnel. Now, you need to get authorisation in writing from Ardagh site. You're not allowed to use your phone, and this includes checking the time. The use of mobile phones for personal calls can only be made during rest breaks. If it's an absolute emergency and you need to answer the phone, then leave the production area before you do this. Conduct on site. Remember, you have a duty to yourself and to your colleagues to maintain a safe working environment at all times. It's your responsibility to ensure you're working safely. If you do not, then you'll be stopped. Indulge in horseplay. All operatives must work in accordance with our site induction, which detail control measures to be adopted to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. All operators working site must have read and signed the induction book and agree that they've understood all control measures. Certain Ardagh policies are applicable to everyone. For example, bullying and harassment policy, drink and drugs at work, and there are others. Hazards on the site. Now, this is a list of hazard site, but this isn't exhaustive. There will be more, and maybe you're bringing some on yourself. But for sure, noise everywhere within the production area and the services area will be high noise, and you'll have to wear ear protection in order to protect yourself from damaging your ears. Flammable liquids and cutting fluids are present on site, as are chemicals. There are lots of chemicals there. Forklift trucks. These work in various areas, but in all areas of production and warehouse and the yard outside. Very, very careful of these. There's some more information a little bit further on in this kingdom. HV movements, especially in the yard area and down the access road. High-speed equipment, which starts automatically. Confined spaces, working at height and or roof work. Wet, slippery floors, plus more. You need to be observant. HitKnot device. So the HitKnot device is a personal alarm device Wearing of a pad, personal alarm device, and a high-vis vest in the warehouse is mandatory. You also need to obtain a warehouse permit to work on a daily basis if you're going to enter the area. HitNOT, a proximity detection system, and this technology which uses magnetic field to detect people and traffic danger. So the instruction is if you're into the warehouse, and I include the service door, which I'll show you on a map in the slides time. You need to take one of these HitNOTs and keep it on your person. You need to make sure that it's not in your pocket, that it's around your neck, or you can see it because it and it also flashes. So you take a pad from the charger and place it in a pouch and hang it around your neck. When you leave the warehouse, return the pad to the charger area. Chargers are located next to the baler and next to the finished pallet areas, and I'll show you those on the map. When a pedestrian enters a forklift truck warning zone, both his pad and the forklift alarm will give 3 beeps, and the lights will flash to give a warning of the threat. You need to be able to see it. When the pedestrian enters a danger zone, then the pad alarm will sound continuously with the light until the threat is over and the pedestrian is out of danger. Now, the HitNOT devices you see are available in the 3 yellow dotted areas, and you can see just under the dot on the right hand side that there is 2 stars. That's the access road that I was talking about, and that's included within the HitNOT areas that you need to wear. Forklift trucks. Bigger forklift trucks around the site. There are a lot more now that we've got contractors on site, moving parts and lifting it onto the so be aware of these. If you're a contractor using a forklift, then you need to use a bagman whenever you're inside the production area. Contractors are not permitted to use the ADA forklift truck unless given prior written approval. Assuming forklift trucks always have the right of way, whatever the circumstance. Do not position yourself within 2 meters of a forklift truck. Keep to the designated walkways at all times, and forklifts should sound horns to notify approach to a wine corner or a door. Please be aware of your surroundings. Operating plant and equipment. Only trained and competent persons with current certificate submitted checked by our CDM project team to operate plant and equipment. If you are found to be operating equipment or plant where you haven't proved your competency and we don't have a copy of your certificate, this will be immediate exclusion from site. Plant equipment be checked in accordance with legislation, daily, weekly and monthly, and these checks must be recorded. Plant and equipment staff all statutory thorough examinations and inspection certificates checked by our CDM project team. Plant must have details of who is in control of it, a contact name, contact number, display it, or a plant on site number. Keys are not to be left in unattended plant or equipment to prevent unauthorised use. And vehicles must be parked safely, and charging cables must not cause a trip hazard. Care must be taken when moving forklift trucks through the production compartment, and anywhere really there are people, and so you must use a batsman. Chemicals and hazardous substances. Before you bring any chemicals, substances or mixtures onto the site, you must supply a COSH risk assessment and a material safety data sheet for each substance or material. Material safety data sheet must be available for review at the point of storage, transport and use. Quantity should be kept to a minimum quantity for your use. Chemicals must be stored, transported and used in accordance with the manufacturer's material safety data sheet and only used by competent persons. Welding fumes. Welding fumes control measures must be built into your company's risk assessment and method state. Control measures must be used to protect all persons from welding fumes. Control measures such as ventilation and personal protective equipment must be suitable and sufficient, and equipment must be maintained in good working order. If you're using the welding bay, you must clean compartment before you leave each day. If you don't clean this compartment, it may not be available to you on the next day. Silica dust. Silica dust is created by cutting, drilling, planing, grinding, etc. of products such as brick, block and concrete. Control measures must be used to protect all persons from silica dust. Control measures such as extraction, damping or protective equipment must be suitable, efficient. And equipment must be maintained in good working order at all times. So if you have two pictures here, we've got the one on left where there's the supervision of the dust by water, and then one on the right which is totally unacceptable, where there's no control measures, and you can see that the dust out to enter atmosphere. Electrical works. Electrical work can only be carried out by a competent and qualified person. Voltage work can only be carried out by an appointed person. Follow the Electricity at Work Act regulations. Portable and transportable electrical equipment must be tested, and for a construction site such as this one, it needs to be carried out every 3 months. Portable tools should be 110 volts or battery. Working dead is bird. If working live is to carry out, a safe system of work for live working must be approved. Overhead working and working at height. So make sure the falling object zone is cordoned off below you. So if you're working on the mezzanine floor and it's an open grate or similar, then you must make sure that the area underneath where something could is cordoned off or barriered off. When working on an open grate floor, you must have a tarpaulin on your floor and covering the work area where you are. And so this should collect any fallen object before it falls into the object zone. All tools and parts must be placed in a box and not a conveyor or other services. If you're using sharp objects such as a podger, you'll need to use a tool lanyard attached to wrist or to your belt, just in case it falls onto the tarpaulin and goes through the tarpaulin. The area must be cleared of parts and debris at the end of each shift. If an area is fenced off or guarded off, do not enter. Falling objects can cause serious injury, sometimes death. Overhead working at height. All working at height must have a risk assessment and a statement approved before work can start. All working at height must have a permit to work issued by the project team, and all persons working at height must be trained and competent to carry out this activity safely. All working at height equipment must be inspected before use, and all working at height equipment must have a current thorough examination certificate. Do not remove vegetation unless permitted by permit to work. Use the hierarchy of control measures when working at height. So avoid working at height if you can. Prevent a fall if you can, and if you can't, then you need to mitigate the fall. No one should be put in a position where a fall from height could occur. And remember, falls from height are the biggest cause of fatal accidents. Waste and environmental control. Do not empty any substance into the drain before first consulting with a relevant member of staff or the project manager. Pay attention to the signs on the waste skip for correct segregation, and do not mix waste. Inform the shift manager immediately in the event of a major spill. Any land contamination should be reported to the local environmental authority by the EH&S team leader / manager. So if you look at this this drawing here, the area where the skips will be located will normally be in the position 31. This is outside in the yard. And as mentioned before, just ensure that you fill the right skip with the right waste. We don't want to mix it because it causes big problems further on in the waste stream. Fire prevention. It is strictly prohibited to smoke on site or in vehicles. This includes e-cigarettes and vaping. There is one designated smoking shell on site, and this is located outside the contractors' porter cabins. And if you look on the top, on the photographs on the top, it's the one on the right side. If the shelter is full, please wait your turn. Remember social distancing. Anyone caught smoking outside this area will be subject to the appropriate and being taken. Do not smoke in your vehicle unless it is off-site. Hot work requires the appropriate permit to work. Fire prevention and hot works. In principle, hot works not allowed anywhere on site, including outside except for the welding bay. Before any hot work can be considered, an alternative method assessment form must be filled in and signed by an authorised plant site representative. This is normally the manager, the engineering or the health and safety manager. If there's no other method possible, a hot work risk assessment be completed by the project engineer. A permit to work must be completed, and this is signed by the plant manager. When the work's complete, you need to put a fire watch, so somebody to watch for fire in that area for at least 1 hour. The permit can then be signed off and turned to the site manager's office. Fire evacuation. If you discover a fire, do not risks and do not put yourself in danger. Do not attack the fire unless you're trained and it's safe to do so. Raise the alarm by operating in the nearest alarm point, which is shown above. It's the red box. Leave the building by the nearest safe route. Close all doors behind you. Report to the fire assembly point, which is located in the upper car park, and the contractor's area is to the far left. So it's the closest part to the gatehouse. Stay there and be instructed to do otherwise by the emergency response team or manager. Please familiarise yourself with the exits and the alarm call points in your work area. Emergency response. There is a fire alarm test every day at 11 o'clock, and there should be no evacuation required. The start and the finish of the test should be announced. Know where the exits are located, and the exits have signage. A continuous tone signal means evacuate. Do not collect belongings. Report to the contractor's assembly in the car park. It's a false alarm, then a member of the management staff, ERT, will say when it's safe to go back into the building. Accidents, first aid, and near misses. Report all accidents and near misses to the coordinator, team leader, or shift manager. All accidents must be reported in the accident book. If you see a hazard or have a near miss, let us know so we can take action to prevent this again. The near miss hazard book is located in the production office. If you have an accident or feel unwell, ask to see a first aider. A list of first aiders are in the corridor by the site canteen. If you have or develop physical or medical conditions which could affect your personal safety or the safety of other persons, then you must report such a condition to the RDAR project manager so that a risk assessment can be made to reflect these conditions. This information will be kept strictly confidential. Housekeeping. Housekeeping is the foundation of safety, and it's important for improving safety. Clear work areas of any redundant items, rags, parts, containers, pallets, boxes, etc. Leave the area in the same condition as you find it, or better. 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the day must be used to clear your area of any rubbish items that could cause an accident or fire. Do not store parts or assemblies within the part reduction area, and do not cover walkways or access egress doorways. Red system. Behavioural procedure for the project. So contractors, individuals or companies clearly ignore the site safety rules described in the site's EDM, induction, construction phase plan, work permit or approved method statement and risk assessment will be managed using the non-compliance and disciplinary procedure. The project will operate a two-tier disciplinary procedure on site, namely yellow and red card. The construction phase will detail the safety breaches which fall under the yellow and red cardings, but these are not exhaustive. A yellow card will be issued to crews and individuals who breach any of the yellow card non-compliances. This will require the crew or individual to stand for 1 hour to allow damage to be rectified. Such remedial action may be required, including reassess of the tasks, housekeeping exercise, induction or retraining. Where an individual or crew breaches one of the listed red card items, they will be dismissed from site for a minimum of working days. A decision will be made between the principal contractor and the client whether the person will be allowed back on site. Lockout, takeout. Before maintenance engineering work is carried out on any machine, it must be isolated from all energy sources. It's not enough to just switch off the machine. The energy source and residual energy must be made. It must never be assumed that an electrical circuit is dead until it's been proved otherwise. Residual energy must be removed from the machine or process and made safe before work can begin. All isolations must be secure to prevent inadvertent re-energizing, and a person must have their unlock on the isolator. Permit to work, PTW. Permits to work are required for the following activities and tasks. A general permit to work, which can be weekly. Hot works can only be daily. Access to the warehouse area. Shift manager or project engineer issue these on a daily basis. Confined space will be daily. Working at height, electrical works, roof access, and access into the wastewater compartment. These are all permits to work that you can get from the shift manager or the project engineer. These are issued by RDAR project engineers in charge of your company, and must be once they're completed, they must be signed off and cancelled and returned back to the project office. Main corridor. The main corridor, as you can see here on the left side, you have access to the canteen. Do some explanation about how we get food from the canteen, because it's quite strict and we're trying to keep as few people going to the canteen as possible. On the right hand side, you've got the male toilets with rooms, but we've got our own toilets on the CDM side. I'll show you those in a minute. and to the production area is straight and turn right. Within the production office is the first aid room. Contractors are not allowed to enter the canteen unless they are the supervisor collecting food for takeaway. Production access. So as you round the corner from the first picture we showed you, you can see that the visitors' hygiene area. You wash your hands before entering the site. On the right-hand picture, you can see the entrance to the production office, and if you carry on through the production office, you can come to the feed room. In this office, the hazard and near miss book is located, and so is the shift manager. Access through to the production area. All relevant PPE must be worn past this point, and you must have washed your hands prior to going in here. Well, facilities. So welfare facilities are available to you. The toilets within the contractors' welfare facilities, the porter cabins. If you look at the porter cabins, it's the porter cabin on the first right is the man-female toilets. Washing facilities within the contractors' welfare facility also, and hand sanitizer is available to you at key areas throughout the plant, and feel free to use those as often as you want. Food and eating facilities are within the contractors' welfare facility only. Nowhere else can you eat food or drink liquids. Drying and changing facilities are all available in the contractors' welfare facility in the porter cabins. And first aid is within the RDAR site, but there is a kit available in the project office. Accident book is also available within the project office. Canteen facilities. So contractors are not allowed to enter the canteen unless they are the supervisor collecting food for takeaway. Food and drinking is available to you, but because of the restrictions, you will need to place your order through a nominated person. There will be one nominated person for each contracting team. The aim is to reduce the number of persons entering the canteen to an absolute minimum. Your order and payment will be sent to the canteen, and arrangements for collect by the nominated person only will be made. You consume your meal within the canteen facilities in the contractors' well facility only, so in the porter cabins. And do not overcrowd this area. Ensure social distancing at all times. So that's the induction presentation complete. Any additions or changes to the induction will be presented to you by the person completing this process. If you have any questions regarding induction, please raise these now. Thank you for your attention.